Hello guys, it's Paula, and we're back for the next part of the tag series. Please excuse my dirty table. It looks so dingy, and that's because it is. I like working on just the table, so I have decided rather than working on a mat at home all the time, just work on my table. It can look terrible. Well, I'll keep it as best I can, but then I'll put a new mat down when I do my videos. But the mats drive me crazy, especially if they move. I love the Tim Holtz one, but the glass mat, but it glares with all my videos, and it's sad that I can't use it with my videos. Today is our next tag, and this is going to be it. Now, this looks pretty simple. And it is. All the tags I'm doing, I'm trying to make really simple. This one is no exception. And I decided to use Tim Holtz stamps. But this took me a couple days to just get it all together. I mean, really more than 2. I've worked on a little bit here and a little bit there. And so I hope you guys are all doing well. And not having any kind of illness or sick of any way. There's nothing worse than being cooped up in your house and then being sick. So you guys stay safe. I am going to be praying for you guys and really for our nation. But I just felt like I needed to tell you that. So this is how the big one will look. This background says today. Today, 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 today. Today we're going to make this tag. Funny. And then I use this crocheted type trim because it has that cool look. And it's a good thing to do is to use it on your tags, because you know it's hard to use it in your books without it raveling. That's disappointing. I used Tea Stains seam binding for the top. I used the word believe for this one that says today, and Tim Holtz stamps, and then just grungy little buttons. I stitched the button once and did one single tie to the button, and I'll show you how to do that. And then I glued it right down. That way it doesn't come apart. All right. And so the back has poster board or heavy cardstock. And then I cut this out of a thinner paper. Okay. This one says today, today, today. And then the other one we're going to be doing is a script here. Now, if you want to splatter on these, you can. I decided not to splatter these. I decided not to stamp on them. I thought it'd be too much. So this is the one that just has a script. I couldn't tell you what it says. Life is sweet is part of it. I see life is sweet. It's like, I don't know. Life is sweet. It is sweet, but it's boring in your house, right? After a while. So pull out stuff and make this tag. This tag is simple. I recommend you use some kind of script if you've got it, because you don't want it to be real busy. Now the back is all stitched. I love that look. And so this is the other one. So these are the 2 I made to see how it would look. And I decided I liked it. So we're going to move on. These are simple. You need a tag. Then you take that tag and trace around the paper that you want. I would do a lightweight paper. And if you can find something that has a script on it or a text of some sort. Okay. Then I cut out this little square. Okay. And I didn't measure it. Let me tell you what I cut out. This is for the large tag, because they are 2 different sizes. So this one is 4 1/4 by 2 inches. 4 1/4 by 2 inches for the white base that you stamp on. Okay. Now, and then the tag is, the large tag is 6 by 3. Okay, and then you have a 6 by 3 white cardstock for the back, so it gives it good support. And then you put this, we're going to take this, we're going to stitch all this together at the same time. We're going to use glue stick on this, and then we're going to just bring the glue stick to the point that you know, you can still stitch around the outside. So not heavy on the outside areas, just like this. And then you'll line your tag up on here. And the best way to do that is to go from the top. I turn it sideways and go from the top. Okay. These were fun to make. It just took a lot of time to get everything together. Every one of these that I end up doing, I put everything in a bag, and I just am trying to, you know, have everything ready. So then we're going to do the same thing with this. Now, I've inked everything because I know that takes up so much time. So I'm doing the same thing, doing all the middle section so we can stitch around the outside. I think it looks better with straight stitching. I did do a zigzag and I had to end up throwing it away. It just didn't, the zigzag doesn't fit down the side very well. Now, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but I made a mistake on these. Let me put this down first. So you just want to center it down below your hole at the top. No, you don't center it. That's what I did wrong. You want to take it to the left. Okay. And just leave enough room to have a stitch and make sure it's straight. I was just about to tell you my mistake, and I was just about to do it again. So I put these in the center. And I had, you know, they weren't supposed to be in the center. I wanted them over to the side the way I initially decided to do it, like this. Okay, not in the center. But when I made these, both of them I messed up on. They both went in the center. So you can do it either way, but I like it. I think it looked better to the side, and then you have room for your trim and your stitching. So the next thing you would do at this point is stitch. Now, I'm not going to stitch this one right now. I've got my supplies right here. I'll wait till the end, and if we have time, we'll do this one. So you cut everything out, get it all together, ink everything, cut out your trim and your seam binding, find a word, and find 3 buttons and a stamp. Okay, now I'm going to set that aside and put up my glue for now. The next thing we're going to do, I want to stamp before I put it on my tag, but it was too late because I prepared these ahead of time. I don't follow rules. You're better off to stamp on your white rectangle before you put it on your card. And I just showed you the wrong way again. I'm just such a good teacher. I'm not trying to be a teacher. I'm just trying to help everybody have some fun during these down times. Okay, on the small tags, you want to use this particular image on Tim Holtz stamps. I'm going to show you what the stamp set looks like, even though it has a couple missing. Mine is in bad shape because I've used it to death. It's called Wildflowers, and the number is CMS253. These are the best stamps I've ever bought. My very favorite. And I have the die cuts now, and so that just makes life much better too. Okay, so you can't go wrong with Tim Holtz stamps. So we're going to stamp the small ones first, okay? And then we'll stamp the big ones. The big one will have this longer. Now, depending on the color of your tag, this will be a brown stamp. This tag will be a black stamp. Okay, I have one other tag I decided to do, and it has this cork looking background. So I think it would look best with brown. But you can do, I just think using kind of mixed media type papers is kind of cool, but only in the brown tones, you know, if that's what you like. That's what I like. Okay, so brown archival. This is coffee. Now, I will also tell you that, you know, if you screw up when you've gotten to this point where I'm at, what I would probably do is, let me get my stamp pad out. What I would probably do is just cut another one and put it over the top and continue, you know, or stamp it separate and then can put it on there. Because I don't like to waste, and if I don't have to, I don't want to, right? Really make sure this is covered. Put your stamp up on your little Sizzix stamp pad if you have one, or a mouse pad. I huff on it right before I do it, and I kind of turn it sideways because it's really just the right size. If you get it one way further than the other one, that's not a big deal. If you didn't want to put a word up on the up in the corner, you could easily, oh, that came out really nice, didn't it? Let's go ahead and stamp all the brown ones first. And so this one's the only one that's black, I guess. And this one will be brown. So we're going to put it on here. So you know, you can change it up however you want. If you prefer lace or ribbon over the crocheted looking stuff, that's fine too. So here we go. Ooh, that's the best one yet. Wow, I like that one for sure. Okay, then we have the one black one. So I'm going to get the one we just put together and go ahead and stamp it too, so we don't have to get the ink out again. You know what? I just stamped the wrong one in there. This should have been the big one. So I don't want to do that again. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to go ahead and stamp this one brown. And since I've already got it on here, I've got a lot of ink on here. But you can do it brown or black. So we're just going to do them all brown. Yeah, you have to remember when you do different sizes. It looks okay, though, in my opinion. But it looks better to me with the larger stamp. Okay, so there's that. This goes with this. Try not to get ink on stuff. Now, on this big stamp, we do want to use the bigger stamp. I'm going to wipe this off real quick so it can air dry. Okay, and then I'm going to put the big one on here. See, there is a big difference. Okay, we're going to do brown. I hope this one does as well as the others. Oh, I hate it when it gets ink on the side. You always want to check the side of your stamp and make sure it doesn't get ink on it, because it'll put it onto your paper. And what happens is that happens when you get to how do I put it? In a hurry. Don't get in such a hurry, and don't press so hard on your stamp. That's what I have found. You might at the beginning, but then after that, just tap. It's probably going to come off on there anyway. We'll see. Hopefully not. So I'm going to turn this sideways too. Bring your stem. Oops, wait a minute. When you do these big ones, you want to add some paper below the white, just in case your stem hangs over a little. which it's trying to do right now. Let me refigure this. There. Now, I'll show you why in just a second. Great, see? It takes it straight down here. If I had done it the other way, it would have, and this is the one I did before. So all of them are stamped. Let me wipe this off and then we'll move along. Of course, our archival ink will not come off the stamps, but don't worry about that. It's not a biggie. So I use brown coffee and jet black if you use black. Okay. All right. Now, I'm going to move the stamping pad back where it goes. So this one hasn't been stitched. I'm going to put it up on the sewing machine. And we can work on the rest of these. Now, you know, the stitching is the most time consuming. So that's why I did most of it before the video, so that you guys didn't have to sit through that over and over again. So I'm using Fabri-Tac to attach my trim, and pretty much all of it. So what I'm going to do is I know I want it to cover this corner and the bottom. So I'm going to cover the corner with some glue, just like that. And I'm only worrying about it attaching to the edge, okay? Because that's where we want it to be. Okay, so I'm trying to decide which way to lay this. Okay, and I cut a little extra so I can kind of do it like this, where I don't have to try to stretch it, and I have so much of this stuff, I don't worry about it. Keep your scraps for a snippet, Rose. Haven't made one in a long time. I need to do that, really. Okay, you really don't want the tag to show over here, so just kind of push it. If it does, it's not a big deal. It's going to show a little bit anyway, probably. Okay, so then you want some sharp scissors, and you want to cut it from the back and then from the side here. Okay, if you show anything that's loose and needs to be glued down again, that's fine too. I hope I wasn't off camera, guys. I'm sorry if I was. Now, that will dry on its own. And then while we're right here, let's put this seam binding on the top. So you fold your seam binding in half. And I cut off about 6 inches total. 6 or 7 inches. Okay, this is the wider seam binding. At least it looks like it's wider than what's the most common. I went in through, I folded it with this loop, okay, and I'm putting both ends through the front portion of the tag. Pull them both through. Then you're going to have this loop like this, if you don't turn it till you get this loop, okay? And then you're going to hold these together again, and we're going to stick our finger under, and we're going to push in, pull out, and because this is a little wider, it's going to be a little bulkier, so you kind of have to just work with it to get the look you want. And I'm not real picky about that look, you know, because, I mean, how long is a tag used? Person journals on it, and then they move on to the next page, right? So you can make these as long as you want. I'm not going crazy, but let me get over here. I keep wanting to pull these up to me, and I'm sorry about that. Must be something about this particular thing. All right, so there we go. Now, the next thing we're wanting to do is to put our name, our name, not on, don't put your name there. The title of the card, or the script that you want to put out there for this card. So I'm going to put Dreamer. Okay. You can type, if you don't have these words, you can find some on digital. I know My Porch Prints has some, Tracy Fox has some different words you can cut apart. Or you can type them on your computer using the typing font, the old typewriter font. And then just cut them into little squares, put them in a tin, and you have them ready. I did ink this, cut it down to where it didn't have a lot of white space, and I inked it. So I'm just doing like this. It's going to hang over a little bit. It's all right. You just, you know, you don't want it to be like that. So I kind of leaned one side forward, and one side down and one side up. Okay, so the last thing we do on this is we get a piece of crochet thread. Okay. You get 3 yellowish worn out buttons. I've already put the string through 2 of them, okay, because it takes forever if you do a whole lot of tags. So you've got a 2-hole here. So we're just gonna go up underneath one side and down into the other hole. Now, if you're doing the 4-1, you just do it the same way. You just go under, but you go up and do it twice. You only want 1 knot on the back. Now, if you're going to keep it in a drawer knotted and ready to go for some other time, you would want to double knot it. But by doing 1 single tie, it's not even a knot really. That is just a single tie is all I did. I didn't even put a knot. Now that I think about it, just make it really tight as you can, and then snip it at the ends of each side of the button. Now, I've got these all tied. I've got these all wrong side up, because if you put a knot or a double knot in the back of this, it's not going to lay as flat. But see how flat these laid? You can look here and see. So whenever you put whenever you make them as you go, you don't have to worry about that. So we're going to take the larger one first. And I chose to put it down on the bottom. So when you put this glue on there, it's going to hold your one little tie down. So I'm going to put 1 button right here and hold it for a second. And then you're going to take the medium. You want 3 different sizes. They can be slightly different. That's okay. Okay, and the medium one is going to go right up here. And because it's the small tag, you don't have as much room. So, and you can choose where you put your buttons. That's totally up to you. Oh, I did that one upside down. But I also did one of the others upside down, so that's okay. Now, we're going to put this one kind of in between the other 2. So, let me stress that you don't want to do what I just did. I make mistakes all the time. I have to fix them as I go along. When I plan it, I have good intentions, and then I forget. Okay, so see these 2? Those 2 should have been turned over, because that's the side I did the single tie on. This one I won't have trouble with, but these I could. So I'm going to take a little tiny bit of glitter glue. There's always a way to fix everything. Nobody's going to pay attention that one's slightly different. And I'm just going to squeeze it right on top the button. And that will keep that string from coming undone. And it dries clear. So you'll never know, right? Okay, so there's the first one finished. All right, so now let's do this big one that we stamped wrong, Paula. What can I say? Okay, my little ink is having a little moment of bringing up whatever's inside her tummy. All right, here we go. Now we're going to turn this sideways again, and we're going to glue in the same location. Okay? You don't want to go crazy, just down the edge. You want it to look, then you kind of just want the bottom where it will grab the other side. Whoops. Listen, I bought some glue the other day. I'm going to turn it back this way. And making sure I've got the right side. And the bottom of it is wobbly. So weird. Fabri-Tac is weird. You never know what they're gonna come up with. Just get it straight along the edge. You'll have to force it because most trims are on a spool, and it makes them kind of want to have an arch in their back. Now that should be perfect. Let me get another wipey here. Ended up throwing that one away. It had glue on it. Okay, so now I'm going to flip this over and trim that off. My husband had to go pick up some things, and I always worry when he goes anywhere. Are you guys that way? I just don't trust anything anymore as far as his safety goes. There's nothing bigger than a bump. This is a bummer, okay, for us. Nothing bigger for us that could have gone wrong is to force us to stay home right after he retired. We had planned on going on vacation for at least a week to 10 days before my surgery. But now we don't get to. So we're going in through the front with our seam binding. Get in there. We're going to get through all the tags that we're doing. Oops, I did that wrong. Paula, go back to bed. Start over. Don't tempt me. Okay, here we go. Put both of them through the front, not just one of them. Yeah, we wanted to go to the Rocky Mountains in the fall, this coming fall. But now I don't even know if I want to go anywhere. And we were going to take some special cruises. But now, do you want to get on a cruise ship? I'm not interested in getting on a cruise ship anytime soon. So it's just frustrating. You work your whole life to get to the point of being retired, and then you're stuck at home. Although it doesn't matter right now because my husband has a million things he wants to get done. Okay, so we've got that here. We want to pull the two ends through the loop. Okay, in my next video, I'm going to tell about the giveaway. So, just so you know. It actually will probably go up earlier than this video. There we go. This one isn't as beautiful as some of them. It's kind of weird. You do everything you think the same way. Little changes will affect how it looks. I'm just trying to do different things for toppers, you know, for each video, but I'm probably not going to worry about that. Okay, so now we're going to get the next set of buttons. As you can see, they've all been tied. And I think we're going to call this happiness. It makes me happy. I hope it makes you happy too. Okay, so this time I am putting it on the tied side so that that doesn't go anywhere. And it's going to be the one that's at the lowest point up next. And then this one. Okay, and this is the medium. The medium and the small are pretty close. You wouldn't believe, out of all the buttons. Oops, I just put that on there backwards. Oh, well. I'm just going to leave it. It kind of shoved our big one off a little bit. You want to watch because things will move when they're wet. And you'll find later that you don't want that there. Okay. The reason I'm having trouble with this is because I don't normally do it this way. I just decided I didn't want a lump on the back of my... I didn't want the tags, you know, drying with one side higher than the other. So we won't have... Well, good grief. It came right up with my finger. There we go. Yeah. So now we're going to put our label, or our name, our title, our word. Okay, here we go. Happiness. What would make me happy would be if all this nightmare was over. Do you sometimes feel like you wake up and you're like, I can't believe I'm in this moment. This has got to be a dream. That's how the whole thing has made me feel. But I also have that same feeling when I go to bed and I get up and I say, oh, I still need to lose all that weight. I thought I was dreaming. Okay, here is tag number 2. I like the way that looks. I'm going to be making these more often. I wished I had found the, you know, the time to plan a bunch of tags. That's what it says. It's what it boils down to, is finding time to do this. Okay. You know, it's time consuming, but if you make a bunch when you do it, it makes it lots of fun. Okay. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to glue down the side. Now this is the one I cut totally crooked. I want to see if you notice that. See how crooked that is? So I had to go from a small trim here to a larger side to cover up my mistake. I didn't count my mistakes, but I should have. So let's turn it this way. We want this to face out. So this one's going to be extra long. All right, so we're laying it down right here. Let it glue and dry. I like leaving this, whoops, this inside where it's up. It gives it more dimension, and I just think it looks better. Got a big snippet out of that one, didn't we? Okay. I'm using my fabric scissors. I shouldn't be, but my other scissors would not cut this without giving me grief. And I don't need any additional grief. I'll just clean my scissors. Okay, so there that one is. I like that bigger look, except it does cover a little bit of your flower, and I don't like that. So if you mess up on one side, you want it to be the side you put your trim on. Just make sure you put your flower a little bit more to the left on this one. Now we're going to do the trim again. And after this one, we're going to stitch our other tag and get it completed. Because I did 2 tags prior, see, I have all these tags, and I'm going to show you how many tags I've got so far. And so if you do each video with me, and whether you go back and do it or you did it as we were making them, you will come up with a lot of tags in the end. I needed tags really bad. I was down to like 3 or 4 that had kept being put back in the box because I wasn't crazy about them, you know. We all have those, right? Okay, here we go. So I'm going to flip this over. I'm going to go through here. I'm going to grab the the seam binding and pull it straight up. And I'm going to have to redo it because one side slipped. But what I say to you is pull it out this way as much as you can, and then put your finger in the loop and just straighten them up. See? There we go. Now let's try this again. Grab both of them. Stick it through. Okay. Now, I always trim the top because when you pull stuff through there, it makes it ravel. It's the only thing I don't like about seam binding. You should always do a little extra because it's going to ravel, even if you use it on your books. So it's button time. Now, let me grab these. There we go. Now, let's just see if I can remember to glue it on the right side this time. So this has the knot, or not the knot. It doesn't have a knot. And it's running away from me. This glue is what's causing problems here. Okay. Put it in the bottom corner. Right there. With the tie part down. Oh, yes, I did it right. And this one is the same way. You're going to put the tie side down. Okay, and it's really close to the same size, but that's okay. I just didn't have enough. I didn't have as many big ones that look grungy. I didn't want them to look shiny any more than necessary. And there we go. Got those there. Now we want to put what we want on the front. So I'm thinking we need to have a reason to smile, right? So let's do smile. Although this one doesn't make me smile that much because it's a little, you know, I got it crooked. But it works. Whoa. That rounded bottom. Okay, so now this is our third tag. We've got one more. I'm going to end up with a total of 6, but we got to stitch the other one. So here we go, number 3. And I'm going to move some of this stuff over so we can have some room right here. Let me make sure you can see. You can. Okay, so now we just need to stitch around this. I'm going to do it in a straight stitch because I like it better than doing it. And I do the first thing I do is stitch around the stamped portion. almost went off. I think real close. May have to do a messy stitch. I think I will, because we haven't done one like that. Well, that's not true. I did one like that because, no, I didn't. I thought I did. That's weird. I must have threw it away. Or it may have been the one I made a mistake on. Or it may have been something else I worked on today. So let's do a little messy stitch. I love doing messy stitches. I still haven't adjusted my needle so that I have control over where it ends. Drives me crazy. Now see, this is a different little twist, having it like this, because we don't have to, do it any, I mean, we can do it how we want, I guess is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be straight and perfect. I like all the messiness. So let's just do the rest of it messy. You want to? It's not hard to do messy. So when you do messy, you don't have to, you know, you want to stay within a range, but you don't have to have everything be as perfect. Especially, you know, when you can go back and do the messy one and... You're not going to back stitch here because we're gonna do the messy thing again. Sorry, I don't have, oop, I went off that time. So we'll just go back on right here. I'm just going to trim it and we'll go back on. I must have just slid right off of there. But that's all right. That's how it ends up looking fun. This is going to be a shorter video than you're used to, because this was pretty cut and dry. You're not going to believe what I just did. So I said, you know, be messy. This one went off and it doesn't look right. So I'm going to stitch just that one section and try to fix it. It may make it worse. We'll just see. We got time. And it didn't help because it's still real close to that edge. See right there? We're just going to leave it because you know what? That's going to be covered up anyway. But I thought I could make it look better, but it doesn't matter because it is going to be covered up. All right, so Now, that is all we need as far as the sewing machine goes. So let's go back here and get it glued together. And then this one, and actually, I think we need bigger lace with this one, or bigger trim. Yeah, that doesn't look right. Let me grab it. I think we need the big trim. I just pulled out several different ones. Let's use this one. I don't think we've used this one. Nope, we haven't. Let's get real chancy with this one. Yeah, this one's different, so. Okay. Close this back up. I try to clean as I go. Not usually in a video, but it does help, right? At least I feel like it does. Okay, so this time we're going to glue here. And that's going to cover up all the messiness on that side, because that side looks pretty bad. Especially right there. Okay, I'm going to turn it around here. Get it all over me. And then put it right here. This may be the one I end up liking the most. Messy stitching, different trim. The stamping looks great on it though. Really good. But that's sticking out like a sore thumb. So let's cover that up. That boo-boo. We'll let that rest for a minute while we do the seam binding. I am going to show you when I'm done here the next book I'm working on. I don't have the book itself picked out yet, so I'm still thinking, well, yeah, I do. That's not true. I do. I just remembered that because it was an older book and it had some flaws on it, but because of what's on the book, I'm going to use it because it just looks cool. Flaws are fine. We all have flaws, right? We're all finding that out now. Since we all live with each other, you find out real fast what your flaws are, don't you? Okay, or your partners or your kids or whoever's bugging you at the time. Okay, so here we go. Let's trim that off and that off. Okay. All right, so that's not so bad. Now we're going to get our buttons right here and try to remember to do them correctly. Put the glue on the tie side. I must have thought I had more. I did another set of buttons. I may have to make an extra one. Okay, and here is the medium, sorta. It's gonna go right there. I'm thinking I have a smaller one over here. Yeah, I do. Let's use this one. Got a little baby one. So even though we're going through all these crazy times and scary moments, I mean, this has been scary to people because it feels like we're not going to have life freedom like we did before, where we felt like we could just treat people one way and shake their hand or hug them or kiss them on the cheek or whatever. Now we probably aren't going to be able to do that. But you know what? There are, I told my husband last night, I said, honey, I said, I feel like this thing is never going away. I've been thinking about it, and I feel like it's never going to go away. I said, I say we buy a big house and bring our kids and grandkids over, and we all live together so that we're all protected. And I am promising you, if this never goes away and it gets down to that, something close to that, I'll be doing that. I don't have that many more years to go in my life, and I'm ready. And I'm not afraid, but I want to spend every moment I can with my grandkids. And I'm sure a bunch of you feel that way. I'm not going to say anything else on the subject because it can be depressing. All right, so, but that part would be fun. All right, so we are done with our tags. Let me pull them all out, and we can see how they all turned out. So there is our smile tag, happiness, and dreamer. How many of you think you're a dreamer? Well, I feel like we're almost to an hour, so we finished in a pretty good time. I feel like whoops, have I been working over that side? If I have, I am so sorry. We'll just have to remake them if that's true, and I'll have to redo the video. Oh no. So I'll show you in another video. I'll show you in the giveaway video, the next book that I'm going to be doing. So you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks to the new subscribers. I love my subscribers that have stuck it out with me through thick and thin. And I just appreciate you all. So have a blessed day. Bye.